Because Christ has a problem with his people. And he is constantly warning us, beware. You know, when I was a young boy, Orlando, I think I was good. My mom said I never gave her any problems.
Amen.
You know, I wasn't perfect, but you know, I love a certain family member. And I'm not going to give any names because their family member is no longer with us. But you got to be very careful to watch who you love and who you love, and make sure that you know that the perfect love is Christ, and following his commandments, as Minister Holmes said, that we are supposed to keep his commandments. If you love me, you'll find out right now if you love God. God said, if you love me, keep my commandments, and we're supposed to love one another. Yeah. You know, and I loved this person. And I tried to mimic this person. You know what I'm saying, Brother Flowers? How you find somebody, hook up to them, and you try to mimic them. And, you know, my family was going through a transition at that time. And, man, did I love this person. And it was another male figure. And it was a relative. And he said, boy, you ain't going to be worth 15 cents. And I'm like, oh, man, that took me. You know what I'm saying? That just took me. I'm like, man, did he know that, you know what I'm saying? Somebody tell you ain't going to be worth 15 cents. What is that? A dime and a nickel. Or 15 pennies, right? That's how you can do a dime. That's the only way you can do 15 cents, right? Either a dime or a nickel or 15 pennies. I'm like, that's tough to tell a child that you're going to be worth 15 cents. But as I got older, I realized that hurt people hurt other people. Amen. You know what I'm saying? Hurt people hurt other people. And I'm like, did he realize the man that I was going to grow up and be, sister? You know what I'm saying? Sister, did he realize the man that I was going to grow up and be? Did he know that I was going to be a great father to my children? Did he know that I was going to honor my mother and my father and be there for my sisters and my nieces and my nephews? You didn't give me a chance, but you judged me because maybe I couldn't be tough enough. I was never the tough one, Brother Reed. Like, you know, my mother came from a farm, and they had to be tough. She told me some stories. My father told me some stories, how you got to get up in the morning and cut the wood, and you got to make sure the field is plowed before you go to school. It ain't no you going to McDonald's and Burger King getting no biscuits during those times. We got it made now. But, you know, he told me, boy, you won't be worth 15 cents. And, you know, that stuck with me. And sometimes that we have to realize that you can't take pain with you from a childhood into adulthood. Amen. Or you are taking it to your present relationship or future relationship. And you'll realize that you're repeating the same thing. They call that insanity. To do the same thing over and over again, but you expect a different result. Can I get an amen? Amen. And I always wanted to belong. I wanted to belong to this group. I wanted to belong to that organization. And I will always get rejected. Yeah, you're nice, and you know, and you ask yourself this. This world really hates us. If you call yourself a believer, if you call yourself a Christian, this world really don't care about you. And so I realized that, you know what? The only connection I really needed was Christ.
Come on.
That was it, was Christ. And I say, with Christ, I can do no wrong with Christ. And then I realized when I sinned or when I fell backwards or backslided, all I had to do was go to Christ and say, Christ, will you forgive me for my sins? He said, son, you are forgiven. Yes. So it doesn't matter if somebody tell you ain't worth 15 cents or 10 cents or you ain't going to never be nobody. You go to Christ. Let's go to the word and prove it.
Come on.
He's talking about, and this sermon was inspired by a board member. It says in chapter 15 of the verse of John, I want you to get this. Verse 11. When you got it, say amen. Because I want you to know now, in this turbulent time that we're living in, you know, I went to an event yesterday. Mothers Against Gun Violence. And a lot of the sons probably did some horrible things, but that is still their child. And we all have not conditional love for our children or our loved ones, but we have unconditional love for our children and our loved ones. And you can't take somebody's child out this world because you get angry. You're not the judge and the jury. And to see these mothers' faces and the pain in their faces, we're in a predicament. And if we don't get back to the basis, which is Christ, basically, if I had a sermon or a text to this, it would be that the darker this world gets to believers, the more relevant Christ will become in your life.
All right.
I'm going to say that again. The darker this world gets, because a lot of us have faced some dark days. Whether you lost a job, whether you got loved ones who, you know, you got loved ones, children who you raised all your life, and they'll just turn it back on you one day. That's what's going on in the world. You got sons that are killing their parents. You got mental health issues in our community that people are overlooking. But look what Christ said.
Come on.
Chapter 15, verse 11, the book of John. He said, these things have I spoken unto you. Now, I got the King James Version, and mine is written in red, so that's Christ all day long. He says that my joy might remain in you, and that your joy might be full. So right now, Christ is telling